Hello, welcome to Duncan Egg Bricks and to part 65 of my Hogwarts MOC series. And in this video we're going to be continuing my quest to never be satisfied with anything that I've built, as we're returning to the Great Hall where we're going to make some changes to the entranceway. Now, before everybody starts crying about the loss of the Great Hall as it currently stands, I did just want to run through the changes that have happened in the Great Hall so far. So I've actually got a comparison file here in Bricklink Studio, which shows all the different versions of the Great Hall that I have gone through. So starting over here on the left, we have Great Hall from set 4842. That was the Hogwarts Castle that released over a decade now, a decade ago, I should say. This was part of a larger set. You can see that it's a fairly decent representation. Things are at the wrong angle here so that it can actually get more interior in, but it was quite nice for the time. Then we move on next to set 75954, which came out in 2018, and this of course had the Great Hall and the Grand Staircase Tower in one, and this was really my starting point for the creation of my own Great Hall, starting as it did on these two 16 by 16 plates, and in fact this 2 by 16 plate at the end as well, and my Great Hall would eventually fill that exact footprint. Now this is the first Great Hall that I came up with, and you may notice that it's both a bit shorter and a bit shorter in height and length than the one that I currently have. You can see the clock is up here on the outer surface of the wall, whereas it should be within the archway, and that was what I did with my next variation. I made it taller and I included this archway here using the 1x5 half arch pieces here and here, and then this section here with a load of grill tiles and one of these printed clock dishes on the front. In fact, it's the same one that was over here. And then moving on to the next one, the main change that I made here was lengthening it. So you can see here there's a 4-stud wide gap, and here there's actually a 6-stud wide gap, which allowed me to put in this extra kind of spire piece there. And then we move on to what is essentially the Great Hall that I have today. Moved Filch's office, or the exterior of Filch's office, down so it's outside the windows of the entrance hall, and then came up with the new courtyard idea. There were courtyards for the previous ones, but this is the most recent courtyard using the brackets and tiles on the outside, which is a big improvement. And then we come down to what I'm planning to do for the new Great Hall. So nothing with this back part has actually changed whatsoever, and the courtyard is very similar. The main bit that's changed is this bit here, which is kind of called the clock tower. It's kind of based on the clock tower from Prisoner of Azkaban, with a few details changed. So I've actually gone back in and I have redesigned it. And my main impetus for doing this was the Battle of Hogwarts set that came out this year and included some pieces which are very useful. And those include this doorway or door frame down here, which is the 1x6, and then inside are these 2 3-wide doors. So you can have the double doors here, which will have to open inwards just because that's where the bricks are, but they look really, really good. And then also included in that set is a sticker that goes on this arch window piece here. This is the kind of 1x6 by 7 arch piece, which you can get a single sticker piece that goes inside, and that will have the clock and the kind of gratings going up and down here. I've just used some other pieces to represent what it will look like, and I've actually slimmed down the entire thing. You can see from here that it's 1 stud slimmer. It's actually 1 stud longer as well, just to reflect the kind of more accurate shape. So that is what I'm going for. It's meant a couple of changes to the outside of the courtyard as well, with some tiles on the back here, some extra tiles I should say, to compensate for the reduction in width, and I'm just toying as well with the idea of tiling the courtyard, but I'm going to leave that for this video. So this is what I'm going to be building today, both the changes to this and the changes to the courtyard. And I know there are going to be some pieces I'm going to need to order from Bricklink, namely the sticker sheet, the doors and the door frame, and a couple of other bits and bobs as well, but I'm going to try and build as much of it as possible using the pieces that already exist and pieces in my collection. So I'm going to go ahead and basically deconstruct the front of the Great Hall, which is going to cause me a lot of sadness, and then I'm going to try and build as much of it as possible using the pieces I have, make a Bricklink order, and then yeah, put those finishing pieces in, which will hopefully take no time at all for you. So let's go on and do it. Right, so here we are with pretty much one entire wall of the Great Hall taken away. I'm surprised the rest of it hasn't actually collapsed. I've tried to leave as much in place as possible, but I have had to strip things back quite a long way. This place is now completely disconnected, but it will all be connected back up again. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to put as many bricks back in as I can according to my new design, and any that I don't have I'll probably replace with a really obvious different colour, and then yeah, I can put together a wanted list and then make sure I get all of the replacements necessary, and then I can go in and order them. So I'm going to get on with that, and then I'll move on to the courtyard and do a very similar job over there. And there's everything all changed up. Obviously still completely in the wrong colours, so I will make a bricklink order and then get those pieces in. Take a couple of days for me, but it should be pretty instant for you. But I'll just show you very briefly what has happened. So this has been narrowed. You can see they've got the new doorway here, which I always really wanted. I was lacking this secondary lower arch before, which looked a little bit odd. And then the way I've constructed it, these are kind of a 2-plate gap at the bottom there, and the receiving half is over here. So similar to how I did my clock tower. And when you slot everything together like that, just have a look inside, it all matches up, or at least it will do when the colours are right. Still missing the piece to go in there, which I will order, and a few odds and ends, but actually had more of the pieces than I thought. So there we go, and just give you a look inside as well. That's very similar, just got this doorway still left here. Wasn't sure whether to try and close this up a little bit more, so let me know if you think that's something I should try, and then through there will be where the other doors are. So I'm going to go through, work out which pieces I need to order, make that bricklink order, and then get all the new pieces put in place. One bricklink order later, and things are looking a lot more complete. I am really happy with how this is looking. You can see I've gone through and replaced all of the off-colour parts with the correct colour. It did require taking it almost completely apart again, but I thought I'd spare you having to go through that. So I've built it back up with all the correct colours, and as you can see here, it's come a stud forward, which then matches up with these tiles here. If I just slide this together and then give you a look down into the courtyard, you can see it all matches up nicely. I'm pretty happy with how that looks there, and I've used that sticker and window glass piece from the Battle of Hogwarts set, complete with the clock, which I think looks really nice. And yeah, it's just a massive improvement. I think I'll just come back a little bit. Yeah, I think that just looks so much more like the actual Great Hall, or at least the Great Hall from Goblet of Fire onwards. And yeah, it is a big change, and I am sad to lose those nice big double doors that we got at the front, which came from that original 2018 Great Hall set, but I think this is a big improvement, and those doors do open. Double doors in there, and you can see into the Great Hall like you could before. Spinning it round, there is just that one thing that I mentioned that I'm not completely sure of at the moment, and that is this open space here. Now, I've got a couple of options for what I can do. I can either leave it as is, which looks okay, or I can bring these arch pieces in a stud and maybe down by a couple of bricks, and that'll just create a smaller doorway that's more the same size as this door frame here. The other thing I could possibly do is get another one of those door pieces, those door frames with the 2 doors, put it in here and then have it open possibly into the Great Hall, or maybe even outside, so the 2 doors sort of nestle together. Don't know how practical that really is. But let me know what you think. I'm pretty happy with how this has turned out. I did try one other thing, but I didn't have quite the right amount of bricks for it, and that was actually bringing that door frame back by 3 studs, and also bringing the door frame here that's holding this piece back by 3 studs, because technically the doors shouldn't be directly behind this arch. There should actually be a little bit of a gap first, but the way that this sticker is made, really there should be some depth to it, so the clock should actually be even further forward than it is here, and then the kind of I don't know what you really call it, grating, and the doors should then be further back. But this is a compromise that I'm pretty happy with at the moment. So yeah, let me know what you think of this new look of the Great Hall. Pretty happy with how it's going, but not against making a few amendments in future. Just pop this all back together again. That is very satisfying to see. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's been a little while since I posted a Hogwarts update, and I thought I'd try and get this one out before I actually go away. So that'll be nice time for me to get away and hopefully leave you with this video. So thank you for watching. watching. If you've enjoyed, please subscribe to the channel for future updates and other LEGO videos. Give the video a like down below, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and you can support me on Patreon if you wish. And until next time, have a good one.